Hello, welcome to the Blue Tweezers channel. Myself, Alan from the channel. Long time no here, I know. Been busy things, but trying to get back on track with some stuff. And good to come back to you all to try something a little bit ambitious here. Going for a bit of ambition and see how we go. It might all fall apart, and yeah. But anyway, we'll go through the journey anyway. So we are looking at GMT's Next War Iran. Got the little cover here, you can see. So this came out last year, latest in the Next War series. Now personally, I haven't got a huge amount of experience. I've played a bit of Next War Vietnam, played a bit of Next War Poland, but I thought as this was a new one and shiny, bright kind of thing, then I thought we'd go for it. Now, can anybody let me know that they can see things and hear me? And if you can't hear me, well, you wouldn't be able to tell anyway, but I'll wait to see if somebody can drop in and say everything's good to go. We have some viewers in already. That's very good. Big board. Good to see you. Kevin. Haven't crossed swords with you for a long time, but it's good to see you here. Christoph, you've got some football to attend to. Fair enough. There's absolutely no dishonour in that at all. So we'll catch you later. Paul, David, good to see you, and Soren. David, thank you. Yes, right. The tech works. Doesn't always, but we seem to be lucky today. Let's hope it all holds up. So, right. So first thing, the bad news. We're not actually going to be playing the game in this live stream. So the reason is because it's a very variable setting. It's not quite sandbox, but it's quite sandboxy, the game, particularly the advanced scenarios, about a lot of intervention levels and between the various allies of the two sides, and also the options you can do for trading VPs to get yourself advantage or disadvantage, etc. So I actually kind of wanted to go through that. So I hope everybody's kind of familiar with the system. I'll probably be going through the sort of sequence of play and stuff in another video and another live stream when we run through that. But this is just about the setup here. So we are playing the advanced rules. So there's two rules sets that come in the game: standard and advanced. And if you're at all familiar with my channel, I tend not to do the standard stuff. None of the beginners introductory rulesy things kind of thing. I go straight for the meat. One other thing that was relevant for this video was for me to check whether I could actually fit the game into a reasonable camera angle that I've got. So I think I'm almost there. I'm kind of losing either end slightly, and I don't want to pull the camera, zoom it out too much, because then you're not going to get a lot of board. You're going to get a lot of other stuff actually showing up. So there are a couple of relevant bits off either end, and really the test was, can I do this live and still sort of film it, reasonably, or would I have to sort of switch to Vassal for it to be, videogenic, shall we say? Yeah, need a bigger table. Yeah, this is about as big as it's going. So I've got some artificial extensions over here to hold the map up, just underneath here, just to give it extra on this end, just to give us a little extra extension to put out. So and that's from Mitchell, is it? Oh, good to see you. Thanks. Very good game, I think, so far, or game series certainly. Yeah, you could have made it slightly more ergonomically friendly, shall we say. Um, yeah, it's difficult to fit two of the standard map sizes end to end in MySpace. So again, this is why I was kind of testing here. Patrick, good to see you. Right, so what are we going to do on this live stream? So firstly, we are going to go through the setup steps, which I've done some of them because, you know, just get on with it kind of thing. So these are the ones in the rule book here. Coming here. First is choose a scenario. We've already done that. This is strategic surprise in the advanced game. So what that means is that it's kicking off, but the Allied side, mostly the Americans, are unprepared. So there's very little force to be projected against the Iranians. In fact, all we've got, it consists of some bombers over at Diego Garcia, which is, you can just see the box is just on this extreme end down here. And also we have a carrier battle group in the Gulf of Oman, which is kind of here on this map, but there's a box here at this end which represents it, and it's sitting there as well with a carrier air wing. So, and that's it for the moment, whereas everything else is all Iranian and all on the land here. So we've chosen the scenario. Now the next thing we do is we determine intervention levels. So there's 4 extra powers which could get involved in this. So we have the Commonwealth, which is the UK and Australia. Then they're sort of together. Then we have France as well, and both are on the sort of Allied side. But then on the non-Allied side, we have the Russians and People's Republic of China. So we have 4 interventions to determine what levels they are, and you have 4 levels. Well, non-intervention is its own level, so you could call it 5, level 0, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this is this represents the VPs you give to the other side. Although I think there's a typo here. There should be Allied, not non-Allied, and they of course go up as you go up the levels. Okay, but what do the levels mean? What do the levels mean? Yeah, you could cut the map, but it's, yeah, kind of here and here. I'm loath to kind of do that to maps, to be honest. But that might be an idea, actually. That might be an idea. I might revert to that as well. I did think of that. I didn't see it in BGG, but good point. I did sort of look at it and well, you can, and, you know, especially on this sort of this hard line here, if you could cut across it. Though again, a little bit loath to do that, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll have to judge this when I sort of look at the video back and see how it looks. Anyway, where we were. Yeah, sure. What size table? But I think again we can get the ergonomics, so we can kind of move that way, move the display, the superiority, the sort of air game bit further over. I think we might be able to do it. But yeah, I'll think about that. Anyway, Nordic, hello. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Where were we? Intervention levels. So, what do the intervention levels mean? Well, in very basic terms, intervention level 0 is they're not in the game, and that gives no VPs to the other side. Then you have the other 4 levels. So level 1 tends to be supply, missile ammunition, and possibly special forces only. That's what you usually get. We've got a little chart here. So if we, well, a set of charts actually. If we look on the Allied side first, so we've got, say, French here. So the intervention levels are colour coded here. and this is, you know, we're looking at which game turn things turns up. But the blues are intervention level 1. So here, which is special forces units and supply points. 1 supply point a turn. The Commonwealth is slightly more sort of complex here. Intervention level 2, you get aircraft and naval units. So for here with the French, you'd get the Rafale air units, and you'd get a carrier battle group. Again, yeah, same over in the Commonwealth here. So you'd get special forces and supply points. Then you get the green, which is intervention level 2, which is a lot of aircraft, and again, CV battle group. Going up to level 3, you'll get some troops being available on the ground, and then level 4 is even more troops, and you're basically getting everything. On the Russian side and on the Chinese side, same thing really. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 is special forces, 2 is aircraft and navy, 3 is quite a bit of ground forces, 4 is the rest of the ground forces. There are other missile points available. Again, you get cruise missile points available with level 2, as opposed, but ballistic missile points and at level 1. So there is slight variations, but that's generally the point here. So the thing to note about the VPs. So this is of course what we got. Sorry, what's Mitchell saying here? Yeah. So it's a standard 2234, absolutely, yes. And this is, yeah, as I say, just goes off the ends a little bit. So the thing with the VPs is that at the start of the game, there's a VP accumulation that can happen throughout the game. And this is all about the petroleum facilities, of which, looking on the map, I've got sort of four these red symbols here. So for each of those that are not destroyed and owned by the Iranians, they gain 2 VPs per turn. So 8 if all 4 of them. And throughout the turns, that can kind of rack up. The Allies can earn money, VPs for them if they capture them. Again, not destroyed though. Although I suppose the idea is to destroy them to stop the flow of VP. So there's a VP bias in the game, certainly in the early game. Again, haven't played through too many turns, through any turn, so I don't know how quickly this can be dealt with. But there's a bias of VPs sort of flowing towards the Iranians naturally in the game. So therefore, to give away a lot more VPs by Allied intervention and options, etc., is kind of risky, because you just make the situation a bit worse. So and of course I'm playing this solo, so I'm not trying to lean on either side really here. So really I suppose that this live stream is a little bit of a I don't know, discussion group, I suppose, to see where should we settle on here as far as the interventions and the optional rules. So now the Allied side there's not a lot of troops about in the game, and they're sort of slow to arrive, but the aircraft are not. So I'm kind of leaning particularly on the Allied side of saying, well, we could go up to level 2, or we could stick with level 1 and just give them, you get quite a lot of special forces help, which is very useful on this sort of invasion-ish type of scenario here. So I'm not thinking really with the Commonwealth or the French of going to level 3 or level 4. But what, for example, the VPs here. So level 1 it adds 7 VPs, so that's kind of a turn of petroleum there. Level 2 is much tougher. That's 35 VPs. So essentially, you know, five turns worth of petroleum there you're giving away. And then it's 48 for level 3 and 57 for level 4. So I think we don't want to go on the big bucks there. So I'm with the French, it's slightly less. So 5 for level 1, 19 for level 2, 29, 31. So the French cheaper, but there's not as many of them. Of course, that's how it's tailored, of course. So what you could do is you could put all your eggs in one basket and go for quite a high level on one of the allies and then not for the other. Or you could kind of mix it up. And there's something to be said for doing like level 1 for both of them. And then you get the sort of special forces help there. And maybe if you wanted to push it a little bit further, maybe go to level 2 with France, but not to the Commonwealth for the plus 35. Although, say, France is quite a lot smaller. Yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on the Commonwealth and France. Any ideas coming from the chat? What they kind of like to see here, really? Oh, we got some stuff in the chat. What have we got? Yeah, so that's my start here. So I'm thinking, yeah, certainly we could put all our eggs in one basket for the Commonwealth and go, say, level 2. That's the 35, but then do no French intervention at all. But that's a big chunk of VPs to give away, particularly as, you know, with the Russians and the Chinese here. They're very chunky as well as far as the VPs coming back. So for the French are the cheapest here. So, for example, level 2 in France is 19, level 2 for the Commonwealth is 35. Russia is level 34, plus 34, and China's plus 47. So that's a real expensive one there. So the balance here is interesting here. Yeah, I don't know. What do people think? Just put your ideas on the chat. What do you reckon here? I'm thinking, leaning at the moment to maybe, just looking at the reinforcement list again here. So you do get a hell of a lot more with level 2 Commonwealth. So you could go level 2 Commonwealth and level 0 for France, and that's 35 VPs. Yeah. Or we could be a bit equivocal and say sort of level 1 with both. So level 1 with both, that'll just give us the special forces. Is 7 plus 5 is 12. We could do 7, so level 1 with the Commonwealth, but then level 2 with the French, and that total is what, 26 VPs? So that's 9 less than if we went the level 2 Commonwealth there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. Of course, we could push it even further, I suppose, with level 2 Commonwealth plus level 1 France. That's a total of 40 there. That does give a lot of VPs available for the Russians and the Chinese to pop in as well. Actually, I think I might, maybe I should go for that. Level 2 Commonwealth, level 1 France. There. Difference between 35 and 40, not much. Or we could do the reverse. Level 1 Commonwealth, level 2 France, that's 26. So 26, yeah, that's significant. Yeah, maybe that is probably my favourite there. Level 1 Commonwealth, level 2 France. What do people reckon in the in the chat. Let us know. So let's assume that for the moment, and let's kind of move on, because I don't want to bore you guys. So with the Russians and the Chinese, so what's been given away here at the moment is 26 VPs. So let's just mark that up here for the moment. Let's assume that's there. So so with some Russian and Chinese influence here, anything beyond level 1 for both or either, anything else, any type of level 2 will swallow that up. So if we just did Russia on its own with 34, that would be with level 2, that would be 34, so that would twist that around immediately. We could get away with level 1, that's 18, although this is only 26, so even there you are preserving some of that VP advantage. Not sure how efficient that is. Let's look at the reinforcement schedule again. Yeah, I got those. Yeah, that's over in the intervention levels thing. Yes, that's still in the tray there. I'm just working out the numbers here. So with the Russians, it's probably, if we're going with level 2, we probably want to do it with the Russians here, I think, and not the Chinese. The Chinese level 2 is 47 VP, so I think that's too much here. I think we either do level 1 with both, or maybe just level 2 with Russia on its own. So level 2, just a reminder, so that's aircraft, and well, I'm not sure they provide. No, there's no naval forces here. It's aircraft and cruise missile points here. Is it worth it with the aircraft? What are we getting here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 aircraft here for your 34 points. You get a bit more here with the Chinese. That's that 47, isn't it? Maybe we should just put on the VP pressure and just do level 1 with each. So that's level 1 for everybody except for the Commonwealth, I think. No, they're French, wasn't it? Yes. That's what I'm thinking. So a lot of special forces and supply and missiles, but we only have a sort of direct intervention from the French. Yeah, let's work with that for the moment. Probably difficult for you guys with a reference point here, but you know, I think this is a little bit of self-help here. Sort of, I'm kind of justifying it to myself in front of an audience, kind of thing. So, not your usual war game live stream, I do admit, absolutely. Yeah, let's get the counters out. Here, managed to fit almost everything into the tray, which is quite good. Where are the intervention levels? I put them in with each country, so they should be in. There, French level. So if we level 2 naval and air, and then everybody's level else is level 1. Not sure if probably the counters aren't particularly forthcoming, so I'll just mark the French for the moment. And so what's the VP totals here? So it's 26 on the Allied side, and then Russia and China is 18, so the difference ends up on 8. Yeah, so currently it's +8 to the Iranians. Right, okay, let's work with that, yeah? So 1 for everybody, 2 for the French. Great. So what we get, what are we getting for the French? The French here, the French will be getting 2 aircraft, 2 Rafale aircraft, and then the CV battle group as well. Everybody else, it's special forces and some ballistic missile points and supply points. So yeah, okay, so not too much. Yeah, well, hey, Mitchell, here you go. The sort of wearing of cogs and stuff going on in my mind. So there you go. You've got an example in front of you. Right, intervention levels done. So the other thing that the intervention levels have an effect on is then the Gulf allies, what they do. So they do provide modifiers for the dice. They come in on dice rolls, and there are modifiers. So this is the modifiers here. Okay, so we have 4 Gulf allies. So Oman, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the Emirates. So, and this is a two-stage discovery here for their intervention. So there's 2 stages. So there's airbase usage rights and then full intervention. So airbase usage rights means that they're allowing the Americans to base, or the Allies to base, in their countries, which are represented by these holding boxes down here. You can see the 4 there. And excuse me. And then we have another dice roll. Assuming airbase usage rights is granted, you have a second dice roll here, which is full intervention, where they will actually provide actual units as well. So they don't have levels. It's just they're in or they're out, you know, with full intervention. Okay, so what you do is for each of the allies, you roll a dice twice, once for the airbase usage, once for intervention. If the airbase usage rights isn't granted, then you don't bother with the second dice roll. You need to roll a 0 or less. So these are d10s. So zeros are zeros in this game. So that's a tall order. But let's see how we get with the modifiers here. So it's what the Russians and Chinese are doing. So we're getting Russian intervention. So what that means on airbase usage is we get some negative modifiers for Oman, Saudi Arabia and Qatar, but nothing for the UAE. And we have got, is this, we're just getting the Russians, aren't we? I thought, or are we getting, no, we're getting both, aren't we? Yes, we're getting intervention level 1 on both of them. I don't think the level of intervention actually changes anything. Then, of course, the allied player can also give away VPs to get negative modifiers as well. So yeah, so looking at airbase usage rights, so we look at Oman, go through them in order, I suppose. We've got -2 because of Russian intervention, and the Chinese is 0. So it's a -2 on the dice, so 2, 1 or 0. Do we want to get the Omanis in? Do we care about the Omanis? So, I mean, one thing I've seen on the map, effectively the Gulf area here split into 2. You've got the Straits of Hormuz, and then you've got the Persian Gulf, and you've got the Gulf of Oman. Now, I'm kind of interested in say, well, do we really need to, you know, break into the Persian Gulf to do that? We've got the whole coast here, half of the map, and Oman is the kind of gateway to getting there. So Oman might be quite important. As far as forces go, they provide some combat air patrol for their own holding box. They don't really. So airbase usage rights is great. intervention, you know, nice, but not really that much fussed. Ah, Max. Hello, Max. Yes, can't choose both China and Russia. Oh, is that true? Hadn't noticed that, but let's go for the... Yeah, I hadn't actually seen that. For intervention. Oh, yeah, here we go. Can use, well, either Russia or PRC, but not both. Oh, okay, cool. Good, good. Okay, that kind of winds us back to this decision here about the intervention levels, because if we want to do the Russians because they're cheaper, maybe we should do level 2 then. Yeah, let's get level 2 for Russia then as well. Again, I'm not sure if the counter's available easily. It's probably not. It's not the right counter, but I'm just going to do that as well. So, yeah. So that changes the VPs there. So the Russians on their own without the Chinese. So that's 34 VPs versus 26. So that's minus 12 then. So that's 12 in favour of the Allies there. Okay, we'll run with that, and no Chinese at all. Brilliant. Yeah, thanks for catching that. Sorry, I hadn't quite seen that in the rules there. We've got some more. Okay, talking about sports. Fine, carry on, you guys. Carry on. I'll just witter away here, happily. Right, so one forward again. We were looking at the Gulf Allies, weren't we? Okay, so air base usage rights for Oman. So Russian interventions -2. We've got some VPs to give away here, so maybe another 2 for. So another -2 for 2 VPs. So that's -4 on the dice, and we need a 0. So still, you know, 50-50-ish. Let's see. It's American one. Let's roll that. Whoops. No, I'll roll that again. An 8. No, a 6. A 6 -4 is 2. No, the Omanis are not interested, so they're not in the game. Next to Saudi Arabia, Russian intervention is -3. Again, give away a couple. I think that makes it a -5. A 4. So yes, the Saudis are in, but do we get full intervention? So for full intervention, there's Russian intervention, it's a +1. So we'd really have to pay to get more than just basing rights here. Because on a +1, there's no chance of them intervening. But as we've got the base, do we push our luck here? You know, do we say do another 4 to get a -3? Yeah, go on, let's do that. -3. Yeah, it does come out as a 10, that's true. That's a 0, so yes. So we get full intervention from Saudi Arabia. Okay, they are definitely in. So I'm just going to stick a dice there. So far, Oman not coming in at all. Saudi Arabia, full intervention. So, Qatar. So we've got a -2. Don't want to give too many more VPs away. So we're just going to go with the -2. And are we feeling lucky? A 2. So a 2 minus 2, 0. Yes. So basing rights for Qatar. Not going to spend on the full intervention. They're not a huge force. Actually, I mean they're reasonable actually, but no. I mean, to even get a chance, we'd have to spend 3 VPs. So not really interested in doing that. So no, we'll let that go. Well, we'll roll anyway, but it's going to fail. 7, yes, it fails. So the Qataris, we've got basing rights there as well. And finally, we've got the UAE, which is no modifier. So it would be nice to have them in. And we've got 2. Hang on, I got this wrong. There was 12. Yeah, I've been doing the VP difference wrong here, haven't I? So I had 12, and I used 4 for Oman, I think. No, 3 for Oman, and 4. No, wait a minute. I think it was 2 for Oman, 2 for Saudi Arabia, basing rights, and then 4 for the full intervention. So that's 8. We were on +12, so now should be on 4 with a 0. That's it. I think I probably moved the marker the wrong way around there. Yeah, so indeed, is the idea. I think the Saudis were good to go. Oman would be nice for this box, but and that's probably the reason. And I'm probably going to try and lean on the UAE as well, because you know, yeah, that would be useful. The Saudis, they're effectively they project through these 2 entry hexes here. The UAE is here, and that's it. Qatar's up at the end, and Oman's down here. Now, the fact that we didn't have Oman means that my kind of plan to sort of focus on the Gulf of Oman here isn't going to work really. We're going to have to be in here to make use of the allies. UAE, right. So we've got 4 left. 0 modifier. I think we give away 2 for that. So a 0, 1 or a 2. 7, no. So they're not interested. So full Saudi Arabia, basing rights in Qatar, and that's it. So we are done with those allies. Hopefully everybody keeping up. Eric, good to see you. Yes, thank you for popping in. Yeah, sorry, just checking the chat here of anything. Start talking about sport, but anyway. Right, so we are done with the interventions. I think, yes, we are done with the interventions. So next we have to look at the options, and there are lots of options here. Now, interestingly enough, there's some recommended ones. So the one that sort of catches my eye, there's a design note here. So Mitchell, this is your fault. It says, highly recommend playing this optional rule. Well, that's kind of like a red rag to a bull, isn't it? Well, you know, it's the sort of thing you should do, then maybe maybe that should happen. So so we may play US readiness. So all that means is their efficiency ratings of all the allies of the US units are 1 less, because they, with exception of clearing operations, that's trying to actually take cities and urban areas and installations and stuff, and owning them. So they're slightly 1 less, and this gives a little bit of bias to the Iranians. So we'll play the US readiness here. So that's +12. We were down to 2, weren't we? So We're on 14 now, so, well, 1-4. We use the times 10. I know we could go up here, but quite happy to use that one. Another one which I've seen in the other games in the series, which I thought quite fun, is the refugees. But I'm just thinking here of, it's plus 10 VPs for Allied, so it penalises the Iranians, and really, got to be honest here, it's mostly going to affect the Iranians because they've got the land portion of here. So I think it's probably a lot more relevant when doing the extended build-up scenarios rather than a strategic surprise. And I think it's probably unfair to go, okay, give us 10 VPs and then you struggle to move on your roads. So I'm not sure if refugees really work. But for example, like next war Poland, that seems a very sort of obvious thing to pick as an option. Anyway, those were my two thoughts so far, my initial thoughts. But as far as other optional rules, what have we got? So we have a lot of aircraft upgrades here. So US Navy F-35Cs, Marine Corps F-35Cs that you can effectively upgrade your carrier air wings and add in the F-35C for the US Marines. So there's those two. They are, well, you can do it 3 times for the US Navy and once for the Marine Corps, and it's 5 VPs each. There are others here. What have we got? We have AH-1Z Wild Weasels. So the US helicopters can do Wild Weasel strikes. It's plus 3 here. There's an air unit replacement here, so you can replace F-22s, which you normally can't. On the other side, optional air units are Chinese, but the Chinese aren't there, so that's not relevant. That's it for the aircraft. Then what else do we do? Oh, we have some more Wild Weasel stuff here, so that F-22s and F-35s can do Wild Weasel type attacks. Another thing here is ready escorts. So I'm not going to be doing that because I'm still not that familiar with the game. So what that means is that normally you can provide escorts from the air superiority box if you're escorting your bombers, but this allows you to do it from the ready box. You can hold aircraft back for sort of escort duty, but I won't run that. 2 things for the non-Allied side, the Iranian side. So I think the big things is whether they want to have access to chemical weapons, and then also the Iran nuclear program. So the US starts with 10 nuke points, but can't use them unless as a sort of only as a retaliation. So if the non-allies pick chemical weapons or nuclear, if they don't pick those, then the nuke points can't really be used. The Iran's nuclear program, that gives the Allies 40 VPs, which seems a bit steep, certainly for a first game. So I don't think they'll do the nuclear program. The option of chemical weapons, well, you don't give give VPs away immediately. It's when you use them. So I think you get 3. You get the number of, you roll to see how number of points you have. Every time you use a point, it's 5 VPs. So that's a nice option, should we say? It's a nice option to have during the game. If it's there, you don't have to use it, but if you do, devour the points if you really need to. So I think maybe chemical weapons should be something here. So we'll pick chemical weapons, I think, for the Iranians here. So we roll a dice, roll 2 dice, take the highest number for the number of points they'll get. So a 6 and a 3, so they get 6. So Iran chemical points, we put it up to there, but we're not using the nuke points. Okay. I'm not that gone on the extra F-35Cs here. Yeah, maybe one. Aerial delivery here. Aerial delivery is about, basically, medium range ballistic missiles for the nuclear bomb. So those go together, that plus 40 plus 20. So aerial delivery here for the Iranians of nuclear strikes is off there anyway. We were doing readiness, and we counted that already. These are the interventions which we've already dealt with. We've got US Marine Corps armour. We can add the armour in. Yeah, not fussed, I don't think, actually. The THAAD long range defense, air defense stuff, that's in the supplements. I'm not going to. I've got the supplements, but I'm not going to implement this time, so that goes as well. The Straits of Hormuz movement here. So this is, again, it's a bit more complexity in that. Effectively, the Allied player, when moving from the Gulf of Oman into the Persian Gulf, has to sort of tiptoe. You can't do it straight from the strategic display. You have to come onto the map and then move across, and then back into the strategic display. Not going to go for that either, I don't think. There's no VPs in there involved. It's just a sort of complexity. We're not doing the refugees. Storm clearing. No, I'll probably forget to do that anyway. Interesting one here, the Houthi Special Forces. So it gives 5 victory points to the Allies. Where are we on at the moment on VP? So that's 14 to the Allies now, because we picked, the US readiness. So a +5 would take us up to 19. Low frequency radar is not relevant because it has to have Russia or China intervening at level 2 or higher, so that doesn't happen. So what have we got left? We've got Houthis, possibly. Not interested in the armour. Not the ready escorts. Quite fancy the additional wild weasels for the F-22 and F-35s. So that kind of counsels the Houthis. So if we do both of those, we do the Houthi Special Forces unit, and we do the US Wild Weasel extensions, that's fine. That works out. I'd probably forget the helicopter, so I don't think I'll bother that. And we're kind of left with, there's Allied interoperability. That's only relevant if we got some French CV, so don't need that. Down to the F-35s. Maybe we'll swap one of the F-35Cs for the F-18s. F-18E. So we do that one time. So that's 5. And then 5 for the wild weasels, not the helicopters, and then sort of -5 for the Houthis. So that will be 5. That'll be 5 VPs to that'll be 5 VPs to the Iranians, which brings 14 down to 9. So effectively we have VPs start off. The Allies have a +9 VP difference. Anybody else have any ideas on any of that? Do the Iranians have air power? Nordic? Yes, they do. So this is the Iranian Air Force up here, all at the ready. So that can fly missions. You have to detect naval units, of course, but also you see these markers here, these mobile missile markers here. These, well, 10 of these are naval surface-to-surface missile batteries. So these effectively can interdict and slow down the Allies as they move about, and they can also fire as well. Now, 10 of these are real, 10 of these are dummies, and I've just done it random, so I don't know which ones are real and which ones aren't. So I'm kind of like the Allied player. So you have to detect these to be able to attack them, and if you detect it and it's a dummy, just remove it. If it's a real one, then it can then be attacked by special forces or by airstrikes or missile strikes, that kind of thing. And these are essentially a big part of the game to try and get the sort of freedom of movement in the naval area. But there are also aircraft as well, indeed. How many locations can the Allies land at? So there are these dark, there's these sort of dark hexes here, which are beach areas that you can land at. So as you can see, I'm not sure how well it comes out on the camera. So there's a 5 here, which is sort of 3 actual hexes you invade. There's a hex here you can invade from 2 points. Here you can invade from 2 points. This is an island. Here there's 3 hexes, 4 hexes actually you can invade. I'm not so sure about that one. We haven't got the arrow, but it looks like you can. So 3 or 4 hexes here. 3 hexes here from these. 2 hexes from these 3 hexes. 2 hexes here from these 3 hexes. And then over here we've got a lot. So these 3 hexes can be evaded here. And then you've got a great big stream of hexes, beach hexes, that can be invaded. So any of those. But as I say, the Allies don't have a lot of ground units. You've got the Marines, you've got a couple of army formations, the 101st, 82nd, and I think it's the 10th Mountain as well. I think there's the extra airborne elements as well added in. So there's not a lot of troops to play with. So you're not going to do some sort of broad invasion. You're going to invade one place, maybe 2, I think, and sort of you're choosing whereabouts you want to do that during the game. Can the Allies conduct airborne drops? Of course, yes, absolutely, yes. So there is air transport capability, airdrop capability. So as I said, you've got the Air Assault Division 101st and the 82nd airborne. They can be parachuted in. So the Air Assault has got the 101st has got its own. I think in this game, it's got has it got its own intrinsic? Yeah. So you can see the movement rate here for this 101st brigade here is 24 movements. So that's intrinsic air mobility. So they've got helicopters, so they can zip around quite a bit as well. But there's a standard sort of air transport capability that you can use. There's even some. The Iranians can do a bit of that as well. They do have air transport, airdrop capability. Not very much, but they do have sort of commando troops. Some of these guys up here are air mobile capable, so they can be shifted around as well. So it's not just on the one side on that. So yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to just rewind to say what we're deciding on. So what we have is for interventions, we have Commonwealth at level 1, so that's Special Forces and Supply. The French at level 2, so that includes French aircraft and Navy, although there's not a lot of it. Then we have level 2 for the Russians, so that's aircraft. There is no Navy, but a lot of cruise missile points as well. And then the Chinese not involved at all. And then on the Gulf allies, we have the Saudi Arabians are all in. The Qataris have given us basing rights for the US, and the Emirates and Oman are not interested at all. So that's them. And then finally on the options, we are switching out one of the FA-18E air groups for or E or Fs with F-35Cs of the US Navy. We're doing that once. Could do up to three times, but we're only doing it once. We are also doing the US readiness. So for US troops, they have their effectiveness reduced by 1, except if they're doing clearing, because they're sort of not really set for doing a sort of normal ground warfare at the moment. They're more used to sort of counterinsurgency now. Done that. We are doing additional US Wild Weasels, so F-22s and F-35 units can attack on the Wild Weasel Common when we're talking about attacking the Iranian air defense. What else? Iranians have the option of up to 6 chemical weapons attacks. That, if it's ever used, then opens up the possible American use of nuke points. What else? I'm not sure we had anything. What else did we have? Oh yes, and we had the Houthi Special Forces, the SF marker. So they've got a single team that kind of bounces back if it gets eliminated. It tends to come back. So, and they're useful for dealing. You know, it actually works quite well because the Saudis are all in. So the Houthis will want their effect to be felt by the Saudis. So there we go. That's our intervention levels. That's our options done. So I'll have to sort of set all this stuff up. Just looking at the rest of the setup sequence. So we've done the intervention level, main intervention levels. Gulf ally status we've done. Optional rules we've done. We've set up the available units. I've already done that. I'm going to add the ones that we've added in. Any pre-game special scenarios, that's really the start of the game. So that's things like initial strike, missile strikes, pre-game movement, etc. So and naval detection. So we run through that. And then we start. So yeah, we're pretty much there, ready to go once I sort of just add the bits and pieces I need to. So there we go. That's it for this evening. So apologies, there's no actual gameplay here. Well, there's a few dice rolls. I mean, you got something, didn't you? So hopefully we'll be back on the channel with game turn 1 of Next War Iran. With the setup as we've determined this evening. So hopefully it's been reasonably enjoyable. And hope you pop back when we do the live stream for turn 1. But until then, we're kind of done. I'm just having a look at the chat to see if we've got anything else relevant through that you've been chatting to yourselves, really. So yeah, Christoph. Yeah, beaches surrounded by mountainous terrain. Yeah, Iran's not really a flat country, absolutely. So right, and I'll see you next time on the channel, hopefully for turn 1 of Next War Iran from GMT, and of course Mr. Land, who was in the chat. Thanks very much for popping in with some help here. So until then, bye for now.